Why, hello. We meet again on the Nobody Asked for This podcast. I've officially lost count of how many episodes there's been, which I think means we're on the right path. Because I've said this before, I don't think that very famous podcasters, start their show and they're like, yeah, this is the 759th episode of, whatever. I'm not going to give anyone any promotion, but you know what I'm saying. So I think we're on the right track. Welcome to 2023. It is the second sequel to 2022. Because, of course, we had 2020. And then last year, 2022, the second. Now we're in 2023. Now, you may be thinking, you missed a year. You missed 2021. Well, that didn't exactly work in the joke that I was trying to do, so I just admitted it completely. But then I didn't want people to think that I was actually stupid. Although if you listen to this podcast, that is usually the thesis statement you'll get is, this guy is an idiot. But you know what I'm saying. So 2023, we made it. I can't believe we're in another year. Mostly because, like all the years, this year flies by so fast. Everyone's always saying that. Where did the time go? The summer's just gone. Christmas just passed like that. But I was talking about this a little bit last week. This was the least Christmassy week of my life. I've had weeks in July that felt like Christmas more than Christmas week felt like Christmas. And I have to extend that sentiment through New Year's week. The week between Christmas and New Year's where it's a lawless time. Is it Monday? Is it Tuesday? Is it Sunday? What time is it? You never really know. That kind of, excuse me if you heard that, that was me blowing a piece of hair off of my phone. I mean, my microphone, my very expensive podcast microphone equipment. But back to what I was saying, that week in between, it didn't feel the same. It hasn't really felt the same since I've had school Christmas break where you truly do nothing. The last, handful of years I've always been working, so it's not exactly the same. But just for some reason, it just didn't feel like Christmas. And to quote Cindy Lou Who, I'm getting older. Does that mean Christmas changes too? I don't know Cindy Lou. I think it might. I think she actually was onto something there. I recently watched back that movie, and I'm sure I talked about this last week. It is, I just got an ad for Crest White Strips. That's not becoming of me. I guess my FBI agent has been seeing my camera roll. That's interesting. Okay. Moving on from that, back to The Grinch. I think that movie deserves Lifetime Achievement Awards. I need them to never redo it because I think that is just unnecessary. I think we need to just keep the version that we have. But I almost wish that they could just redo it, but with so it just doesn't look so old. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you know when you watch a movie, and I'm just now getting to the point where I can watch stuff that I remember being new and then start kind of seeing it age, if that makes sense. I'm literally a 12-year-old. I'm not saying I'm old or wise or, back in my day or anything like that. But I can watch even old shows. I was watching, just because as I normally do, I was watching an old episode of Hannah Montana a little while ago, probably about a year ago, if I'm actually thinking about the date. And it looks old. And, being a young person, that doesn't happen to me too often. So I'm now starting to see the withering of shows that I used to watch. Wuthering Heights. I never actually read that. I think I was supposed to, but I think I might have read the Cliff Notes. Dry reading. But, yeah, so I need them to redo The Grinch exactly as it is, but just kind of updated for the new millennium. I need it to be in 1080p or whatever that 4K. Or maybe even 5K if we can work that out. But I need it to be all of the same actors, all of the same script. Basically what they did with The Lion King, how they made it I was talking about last week, live action Lion King. How they did the exact same movie, but they just kind of updated it. I need them to do that with The Grinch. Now the issue is, it's not an animated movie. So the child actors I'm assuming that over the past 15 to 20 years, they look a bit different. Unless there's like, unless they've been frozen in time, which that honestly works. But this isn't a Disney production, unfortunately. I don't think there's freezing of people. See our conspiracy theory episode about Walt Disney's head being frozen in the dungeon. I believe that's a very early episode, like probably episode 4 or 5. Well, we still had ideas of what to do for the show, and it wasn't just me like rambling. So go back to those days. We can relive those times. But yeah, I need them to just completely redo the Grinch. And even if they want to cast the same actors, like we can just give them the work again. I don't really think anyone from that movie really took off. I can suspend reality enough to believe that like a 37-year-old is actually, playing the role that they originally played 20 years ago. Like it's fine. We might have to like get them new costumes because they probably don't fit, but we can make it work. So yeah, I would just like to add that because really all any movies anyone's making is remakes and sequels. So I think that we could just add that to it. Just add that to the list of movies. Also, has anyone else noticed, like, I'll read something about a movie coming out, and then it's like, this movie will be hitting theaters in, like, 2027. Like, what? It's going to take you 5 years to make a movie? Like, how is that even, like, profitable? Like, what are you doing for those 5 years? Like, how long? Like, I'm recording this the day before it comes out, and I'm gonna upload it. Now, I could understand you saying, yeah, it's a voice memo of you talking that you're just clicking upload, but everything's relative. Like, I'm one person with one iPhone posting on one software from one computer, one file. But like these like Hollywood movies, they have like hundreds and hundreds of people. So it's like, to scale, they should be able to get a 2-hour movie out, if not the next day, like 2 business days. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I'm not understanding why it's taking so long. And then how embarrassing if you take that long to make a movie and then it sucks. I was saying this about Avatar. I don't know if I was saying it on the podcast or just in life, but first of all, I'm just going to be completely honest. I've never seen Avatar. I haven't seen Avatar 2. I probably won't see Avatar 3. But I've been kind of tracking the making of Avatar 2 because the first one came out like I feel like I was like elementary school, and like not even like upper elementary school, like young elementary school when it came out. And then I remember like a few years after that, it was like, oh, they're doing Avatar 2. And I thought, oh, well, that's cool. Like, I don't really care, and then like 10 years passed, and I was like, no, where's Avatar 2? And then I Googled it, and apparently they had filmed Avatar 2, 3, and a bit of 4. And like 5 is coming out. They have already the release date, and it's coming out in like 2028. Like, what are we supposed to do with that? And this was like all pre-COVID, so it's not like you could even blame COVID. I'm sure COVID had pushed it further, but like everything is so far in advance. Also, while we're talking about Avatar, I've never seen it, but most movies that I haven't seen that are like that popular, I could tell you what they're about. I could probably tell you like what the main characters' names are. I could maybe tell you like what I think the plot is about. Like, for example, I've never seen Harry Potter. But from my understanding, it's about a guy, I presume named Harry Potter, who finds out he's a wizard, and like there's like 13 and a half movies about how he's a wizard, and he wizards, and it's all about wizardry and warcraftness or whatever. Not Warcraft like the art of war, like warlocks. That's what I was thinking. I can't tell you details, but I can tell you about a little bit what it's about. Twilight, never saw it. Pretty sure it's about vampires. And then there's like another guy who like turns into like some sort of werewolf. Maybe he's a warlock too. I'm not too sure. But there's like the main woman who's like trying to, pick between these, 2 people, yada, yada, yada. I think there's a kid involved. Like they have a kid. Toward the end, they get married. I think she probably becomes a vampire. But again, I haven't seen it, but I can tell you what it's about. Star Wars, same thing. Never saw it. I know that there's 3 movies, and then 3 movies that came after the first 3 movies, but they're like prequels, and it's about Luke being someone's father, or like Luke has a father, and the Darth Vader guy, and then Yoda. So you get my point. All I know about Avatar is that the people are blue. And I know that because I've seen like the poster. But like, if it's this like big movie that's made billions of dollars, aren't I supposed to know a little bit more? Actually, I have to go back. I have to pull back on something. I have seen Twilight, not the full thing, but recently-ish, like in the last 6 months to a year. A friend of mine showed me clips of Twilight, and I thought it was like a comedy. Like the acting was so bad, I thought it was like a spoof. Like, you know those like skits where it's like they're like, Tracy, why did you leave me? What were you doing over there? Where like you think that they're trying to be funny, like they're acting bad on purpose. Apparently they were serious. This was them like seriously like acting, like they went to acting school for that. They showed up to an audition. They like memorized the audition lines, and then they got the part. I can't imagine how frustrating it is to be an actor who you like auditioned for something, and then you watch the movie and the acting is terrible. And then you recognize that the acting is terrible. But then you're like, I didn't get this part, so I must be a worse actor than that. Or what I would do in that situation is, before I made it about me, before I saw myself as the problem, I would Google and see if who did get the part was in any way related to anyone involved in the production of the movie. Like if you find out it's someone's niece or nephew or like someone's cousin, then it's not as bad and you can just keep blaming the system. But if it's not, you must suck at acting. So there's that. Anyway, yeah, so we're in 2023. Let's do some New Year's resolutions. Okay. New Year's resolution, and I'll try and keep it somewhat podcast focused. I would love to not promote myself, upgrade to an actual microphone. I think that would be really fun. I'm going to try. Okay, so that's resolution number 1. Resolution number 2, I would like to plan at least 1 episode a month. Like have, not a script, but like a format. Maybe we do like a game. Maybe we do, I play charades with myself. Maybe I do like a movie review. Oh, by the way, I'm back into reading. We can talk about that after. But yeah, we do some sort of something. I'll give you a gup date. For those of you who don't know, a gup date is where I talk about my bowel movements, but in a very, not truncated, in a segment that we make sure is, we issue a trigger warning. So if this isn't your thing, like you can skip. I give you the time codes. It's done like I do something very unprofessional in the most professional manner that I know how to provide. So yeah, so that's New Year's resolution number 2. New Year's resolution number 3 for podcast is go number 1, or do you know what? At least break the top 100 again of the Finnish podcast comedy charts. For those of you that are just joining us and weren't here in the very beginning, when we launched, to use dramatic phrasing, when we launched the Nobody Asked for This podcast, I got an email one day from, I don't know what, like from either the software that we uploaded on or like, I don't know, something like some account I had signed up for. And it was telling us that we charted in Finland. We were like, I think 167 on the podcast charts of Finland. Now, I've since learned that when you start a podcast, like for whatever reason, you can chart more easierly, because it's like you get like a rush of new listeners, which I really didn't have a rush of new listeners. But I guess like, like my friends and stuff or family members were like, oh, this is cool. And like by episode 3, they had the amount that they cared about this had expired, which fair enough. I understand. But like in the beginning, it's like, oh, this is cool. Let's click on this, when I send it out to people. Unfortunately, we free-falled from there. Like I think we were like, our 15 minutes of fame were like 15 seconds of fame. And unfortunately, I don't live in Finland, so like I didn't even experience my 15 minutes of fame. I felt like a Big Brother contestant who got out and realized that, no, people don't care about you in this current moment, but they used to for the 3 months that you were actually locked in a house and couldn't reap any of the benefits of your fame. For anyone that doesn't know, Big Brother, one of my favorite shows, happens every summer. They put you in a house. I think it's about 15, 16 people. They lock you away for like 3 months. And you play a game, but like it happens live. Like it's not like most reality shows. It's not like a regular reality show. It's like a cool reality show where it is being shown on TV at the same time that they're filming it, essentially. Whereas most reality shows, like you're watching stuff from 5 months ago. So basically what happens is these people are not famous, but like as famous as most of them will ever get, but they're locked away in a house during the time that they're famous. So they miss their own 15 minutes of fame. Similar thing, except I wasn't locked away in a house on a studio lot. I was semi-locked in my own house, just in a different continent than the continent in which I was receiving notoriety and fame. So I could go to Finland now and have no claim to fame because I missed it. So there's that. But I think our New Year's resolution is we're gonna get back there. Finland, any other like a Nordic country would be fun. Any country that I haven't been to, it gives me a reason to visit. I've been to 2 countries, the country I live in, and then the country that is that shares a border with mine in which I can drive across. So, I mean, really the world is my oyster there. It's just up to you all to get me charting in those different regions. So, I mean, I've done my part. Like, what are you going to do about it? You have 24 hours. I really prefer making a New Year's resolution that really is more so me asking for stuff from other people. It really takes away the pressure off me. So like if my resolution is that I get, number 1 on the charts, obviously there are ways that I could go about trying to fulfill that prophecy, the goal. But really, it's up to, everyone else to listen. So it's really 50-50 on this. So if we're coming up on 2024 and that hasn't happened yet, I only have to share 60% of the blame for that. So, I mean, that really is the way to go. Now, what my New Year's resolution will not be is to start working out. I think I know myself better than that. I know my strengths. I know my weaknesses. And, working out is just not something that I would particularly suggest for myself. It's great for people who do it. I respect it. I'm sure it is good. I'm sure your blood pressure is good. I don't exactly know what blood pressure means. If anyone is a medical person who could explain that to me, like what is blood pressure? Also, why is there blood pressure machines in the supermarket? I'm sure it's good. Like, I'm not complaining about it. I know it sounds like I'm complaining. It's probably hard to distinguish when I'm complaining and when I'm just having a dialogue. I think I just have one of those voices. It's also like, I think people don't know when to take me seriously. Or like I'll be saying a joke and people are like, wait, are you kidding? So I think, especially people that don't know me too well. So, I'm not in a complaining way, but like why that? Why was it like, you know what? Let's put blood pressure machines in supermarkets. Like, just because I don't really understand what it is. My theory for myself, at this stage of my life, I know people are in different circumstances, different, phases of life. You have to be more on top of that. I think of it as, if my blood pressure is off, like I feel like I'll know. That could be wildly untrue. So yeah, maybe I need to get on one of those machines. The only grocery store machine I've ever used is the one that tells you what insoles to buy. That's not true. I also, when I was younger, obviously went on those, they sometimes have like the little kid rides, like out the front, like where they keep the shopping carts. I would go on some of those. I didn't pay for them. Like I didn't actually put the toonie in or whatever it was. It was probably more like a quarter. I didn't participate in that part of it. Like I didn't activate the ride, but I just sat on it and pretend like it was doing whatever movement it was supposed to actually be doing. So that and the Dr. Scholl's thing where you step on it and it tells you what insole you need to buy. Now, did I ever actually go through with buying the insoles? insoles? No, absolutely not. But I just thought it was cool. But mysteriously enough, they don't have those machines anymore. So I'm starting to wonder if it was some sort of a front. Anytime something disappears, I'm like, it's a front. Now, until very recently, I did not know what a front actually meant. Like, I remember when I was early university, the campus that I was going to was like part of a mall. If that makes sense, it was like in the upper floors of a mall. So like the down, like if you looked down, essentially, when you were in like the hallways or whatever of my university, it was a mall. Now, I know that sounds confusing, but I guess it more so would make sense from the opposite perspective. So like you're walking through the mall and you look up and there's like a university happening. It was pretty good. It was nice. It was nice being close to a food court at all times. My freshman 15, I put on a couple freshman 15s, I have to say, from the, I'm not going to call any establishment out, but let's just say it was bleak. But there was this, it was not a kiosk, but it wasn't a part of the regular food court. It was like not a stand. I guess kiosk is like the closest term to what I'm actually supposed to be describing for you. But let's say it was a kiosk. And they sold, allegedly and apparently, frozen yogurt. Now, not one ice cream cone did I ever see being sold from that kiosk, from that stand. Never once. I never saw any dairy. I never saw them get a shipment of milk. I never saw them get so much as a ice cream scoop. I saw no, like, you know when you go to like a gelato shop and there's like, you can see the gelato? That wasn't there. I didn't see an ice cream machine. I didn't see a ice cream cup. I didn't see a waffle cone. I didn't even see a regular cone, a sugar cone, none of it. I didn't see a napkin. But apparently they were going to sell you ice cream. And I think ice cream was code word for drugs. Now, I can't tell you the name of the shop because one, I don't want to get sued, and two, I don't know what it is. And I swear to you, about 6 months in to witnessing this, I decided to see something, say something. And I was kind of like talking to, my peers or whatever. And I was like, is there something like that? That's weird, right? Like, have you ever seen anyone buy an ice cream cone there? And they were like, no, you have a point. And I would go to another person, like, this like stand here, it's a little bit weird, right? And they would like slightly, like, we'd get like a wink, I'm telling you, without a word of a lie, I've probably lied on here before, but this is not a lie. A week after I was the whistleblower of this operation, they shut down. They're gone. They're wiped from the internet. I've tried to Google, like, where'd they go? There's nothing. There's absolutely there's no record that this ice cream place existed. Now, one of two things happened. Either they're actually a business, and because I never saw them make a sale, they just went bankrupt. Like, it was not fiscally possible for this to happen anymore. Okay, that's, sure. That could be it. Or, which I think is the more likely one, if you ask me, second possibility, they heard that I had cracked the case, Hardy Brothers, Nancy Drew style, Dora the Explorer, Go Diego Go, and they had to get out. They had to get out before, word got around even further. So, yeah, basically that was a time I shut down what I believe to be a front. Yeah. Actually, yeah, if anyone else, they probably went somewhere else. So if anyone else goes to a university that's in a mall, just check. Just see if there's, like, any new-ish frozen yogurt shop kiosks that you are suspicious of, because they might have just moved to you. So stay vigilant is basically the message here. Actually, going back to wanting to have, like, planned segments for my New Year's resolution, I would like to bring back a long-awaited return of one of our, I would say, our most popular segments, which was surprisingly not the Gup Date where I talk about my poo. it was the snack graveyard. Now, for those of you who don't remember, or just never knew in the first place, snack graveyard, it's like when you say, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry, I forgot your name, and then realize that like you never learned it in the first place. Pro tip, if you ever know that someone told you their name and you're forgetting, ask how they spell it. That's always the way I go. You have to fake a situation where you need to spell their name and be like, oh my gosh, how do you spell your name? Like, I just want to make sure. Now, the problem with that is you might say, oh my gosh, how do you spell your name? And you find out their name is like Sally. Or like even something more simple like June. You know what I mean? Like there's really only one way to spell that. Now, people are getting more creative these days and they're just adding like vowels, more so like silent letters. I'll never understand a silent letter. Like, why are you there? Like I can get, like if someone explains to me, like I was looking through Irish names and it, like they literally just add letters for no reason. Like if someone says, well, yeah, because this letter makes this letter softer or this makes the A say ah or whatever, like that, okay, I can kind of understand. Like if I break it down, I can kind of see where you're coming from. But there are some names that they just flat out, like they just add like vowels for no reason that make no sense. So anyway, I am bringing back the snack graveyard. Now, the snack graveyard is a segment where I look back at a snack that is no longer being sold. The dreaded discontinued fate has been brought upon it. And I just remember it. And, you know, I think a lot of the time, it's so funny what we remember. Like, I remember the randomest things. But then I think, like, well, if I'm remembering this, like, for every random thing I remember, there's got to be an equally random thing that I'm forgetting, if that makes sense. It's like, what am I not remembering? So I think I'd like to take this opportunity to remind people of what they could be forgetting. Now, I don't exactly know the name of these things, but they just popped into my head, so I'm going to share. They were these little popsicles that I believe were like banana-flavored ice cream, but they were in some sort of like a gelatin banana peel, in which you peeled off the like jelly banana peel, and then it was like a banana, but it was ice cream. I believe they sold them at Costco, as all great things were sold. Costco really does it right. They need to do Costco with smaller portions. I mean, I understand that is like the appeal of Costco, but like I would like a muffin from like a Costco muffin, but I want like a Costco muffin, not like 6 huge Costco muffins. That you really have to buy 2 of, like a pack of 2. So you need 12. Like I don't need 12 Costco muffins. I would like 1 Costco muffin. Regardless, my snack graveyard, I'm entering it in, is those banana things. Now, banana flavored stuff I have a problem with, but for whatever reason, that like the shade of vanilla, the tone of vanilla that they chose for these specific popsicles was very palatable and tolerable. So I'm gonna say, if those still exist, which I haven't seen them in a while, but I haven't checked to see if they're discontinued, so I don't really know, but I'm going to say for sake of this segment that they are no longer with us. So we can take a moment, thank them, and let us move on. Well, I hope you all have an amazing week, or at least like not a terrible week. You know, not every week can be great. So I think if you're having a mediocre week, let's just settle with it. Like, let's just accept it and like get ready for the next week where hopefully it's a bit better. And yeah, I really appreciate you listening. Even if you listened for like 2.5 seconds, I really should say the thank you in the beginning, because it's probably more likely that people listen to the beginning of this than the end. I'd actually be interested to see if they have like statistics for like when people stop listening. And again, I would like to do my weekly reminder. I know nobody listens to this. Like I get maybe 2 listens a week, like maybe like on a good day. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm famous. But yeah, if you are listening to this, I really appreciate it, like truly. I hope you have a great 2023. I hope you have a great week. If anyone's if anyone comes up to you and says, "Hey, where do you find that podcast?" You go to podcastnobodyaskforthis.podbean.com. You can get all you can listen to the episodes there. You can get our links to our Spotify or Apple. Again, I say it's literally just me. So we're on Stitcher, iHeartRadio, all of the places. We're also on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We were on TikTok. I haven't talked in about 4 months. But, if you want to follow us there, look at our archive. But yeah, I appreciate it. I will see you next week. And yeah, happy 2023.